This pattern is made using picot knots. To start with, I've attached a few cords to my dowel stick using a lark's head knot. And now taking the first 4 cords, I tie a square knot. And I'm going to leave a bit of a gap from the top. If you're not sure how to tie a square knot, then please look in the description for my beginner knots tutorial. Now that I've tied my square knots, I'm going to take the 2 middle cords and push the square knot up. And that forms my loops, which I'll just push out to the front. And now doing the same with the cord next to it, so I take my next 4 cords, tie a square knot, and push it up. And then now I'm going to go into my next row, so taking 2 cords from the left square knot, 2 cords from the right square knot, and tying another square knot underneath. If you want to have bigger loops, then you'll tie your square knot further down. If you want smaller loops, then you tie your square knot further up. Okay, and in the beginning it doesn't look so great, but as you continue to go, the loops start to get more condensed and starts to look nicer. This next pattern is a picot knot, but with texture added. So this time, as I did before, I will tie a square knot, leaving some distance from the top. But before I push my square knot up, I'm going to take a scrap piece of cord about 10 centimeters, and what I'm going to do is just wrap around the front of the 2 middle cords and then bring both ends through the back and out through the middle of the 2 cords. So I end up with that. Push it down and then brush out the 2 ends of the short cord that I've attached. You could use like a comb or a small hairbrush. This is a macrame brush, similar to a pet brush. And now that I have brushed it out, I'm just going to cut the ends a bit shorter because I like it about a centimeter and a half. And then push up my square knot and form my picot knot loops. And then I'm going to repeat the same on the other side. Add my cord, so you go over the front and bring the 2 ends out through the middle. Push that down. Okay, and then on your next row, you'll take 2 cords from the left square knot and 2 cords from the right square knot, tie a square knot, and on the next row, you'll move to the left-hand side, tying a square knot with these, and then a square knot with these, and you just keep repeating that over and over. Now I'm going to show you how to create a window in your macrame wall hanging, and the knot that I've used in this example will be using vertical double half hitch knots. So to add my first vertical double half hitch knot, I take a long piece of cord. The length depends on how many knots you're going to be tying. I've got about 100 centimeters here. So I'm going to take my long cord that I'm attaching, put it behind the first 2 cords, and then I'm going to loop around the front, around the back, and then I'm going to come through this loop. Tighten that, push to the top. I'm just going to move my excess cord behind and I'll hide that away on the next knot. And then I'm going around the front, around the back, through the loop. Okay, now this excess cord over here, you can just cut that and glue it down or sew it down, but I like to actually tuck it into the next knot that I make, and then I'll cut it from the back. So I've taken the excess cord and I'm just going to group it together with my next 2 cords that I'm going to tie a knot around, and then taking the cord that I'm tying my knots with, I'm going to tie a knot around all 3 cords. So I'm going around the front, round the back of all 3 cords, and through the loop. Round the front, round the back of all 3 cords. Okay. Right, now I'm going to continue my knots right until the end, and then I'm going to show you how to change direction. Right, now I've got into the end, and here is my cord that I'm tying knots with. So now to turn around, I'm going to go around the back, around the front, through the loop. And then I'm coming from the back, around the front, and through the loop. So I'm coming from the back, around the front, through the loop. Okay, and I'm just going to repeat that till the end. Now that I've got to this cord where I tied all 3 cords together, I could tie another knot around all 3, or I can just leave the excess cord and then I'll cut that off later. So I'm just going to tie my knots around just the 2 cords and leave that excess cord behind. Okay, so now we're getting to the row where we have our window. So what we need to do is tie knots wherever we don't want the window, and leave the cords without any knots where we do want the window. So what I've got here is 2 rows on either side, and then a complete row underneath. So I have to tie 2 knots and change direction, tie another 2 knots, and do the same on this side, and then create my full length of knots. So I take the cord that I've been tying knots with, and then we're just going to change direction. Okay, and I'm going to change direction again. Okay, and now I want to create 2 rows of knots on this side and then leave my window open. So I'm going to take another long cord, and I'm going to attach that, as we did before, onto the cord. Okay, and now I'm going to change direction. Okay, so now I have 2 rows on either side, and now what I'm going to do is continue to tie a row of knots using the cord from the left, I'm going to go right across. So coming from behind, around the front, through the loop. And I'm just going to continue all the way across. So you can see now that I'm running out of cord. So I'm going to show you how I would attach a new cord. So I've taken another long cord, and now what I'm going to do is take the cord that's running short, take my next two cords I'm going to tie a knot with, and I'm going to attach a new cord, by tying a knot around all three of them, as I did before. Push that up. And then finish my knot around all three cords. Okay, and then moving on. Okay, now I'm just going to change direction. Okay, and now I'm going to cut these cords to create my window. Okay, and now I'm going to take some fabric glue, and I'm just going to dab the ends of those cords down. So you could use a paintbrush to do this, so you don't have to get your hands messy, but I'm just going to use my fingers. So I'm going to dab some on here. You just want to be careful not to put any glue on the front of your work, because the glue does make the macrame appear a little bit different, so you just want to keep the glue out of the way of the front. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the same to the top, and there you have your window. This pattern is made tying vertical double half hitch knots, but in the reverse. So if I was to turn that around, I would basically see knots like this. To tie a reverse vertical double half hitch knot, I'm going to take a new piece of cord, and I'm going to attach it to the first two cords. So when I tied my vertical double half hitch knot, I started from the back of the cords, but now I'm going to start from the front. And I'm going to go around the back, loop around the front, coming over the top, like that. And then I'm going to go around the back and come through this loop over here. And tighten my knot to the top. And to continue, I'm going to take my next two cords going over the front, around the back and through this loop. Over the front, around the back, through the loop. Over the front, round the back, through the loop. when I get to the end, I will show you how to change direction. Okay, now changing direction, I'm going to go over the front, round the back, through the loop. Over the front, round the back, through the loop. Over the front, round the back, through the loop. Over the front, round the back, through the loop. And when I get to the end again, I'll just show you how to change direction one more time. And as I showed in the previous example, you can also, tuck this cord in and tie a knot over it if you want to hide it away, or you can just cut it and glue it back. So to change direction, I'm always going over the front, round the back, and then through the loop. Over the front, round the back, through the loop. Over the front, round the back, through the loop. And that is your reverse vertical double half hitch knot.